Let's get more analysis on the story and speak to Ibrahim Mahmoud. He's with the Cage campaign against Guantanamo, joining me live from London. Ibrahim, many thanks for joining us today. Tell me, what is your reaction to this news that these 15 men have been transferred to the UAE from Guantanamo Bay?
Well, it seems bizarre that we are legally or morally welcoming the United States, transferring these detainees after 14 years of abuse and, having 14 years of their lives robbed. But of course, it's most welcome. I mean, the most significant number of detainees under the current president Barack Obama. So, of course, it shows that there is no appetite for this facility to remain open. I think now questions and our focus should return towards aftercare. What kind of support and services are the United States willing to give to these detainees, if there is any, and if we've given this responsibility to a country like the United Arab Emirates, then they should make that public and it should be clear as to what those expectations are.
Well, let's talk about what happens next. According to US intelligence, 21% of those that have been released from Guantanamo Bay prior to 2009 engaged in terror activities subsequently. How do you ensure that these men don't end up going back to terrorism-related activities?
Well, first of all, these men have never been prosecuted. They didn't have the chance to defend themselves or have their day in court. So they have not. There's no proof they've ever engaged in terrorism. And on the idea of 21%, I mean, I've had all kinds of figures quoted to me: 18%, 5%, 3%. So the figures are contentious. There's no definitive figure. What we can say is that it's not about what kind of people these detainees are. It's about the principle, the idea that you can kidnap people, fly them halfway around the world, detain them for 14 years of their lives without no charge or trial is horrid and unacceptable. We all agree, I think, the world over, and there's no need for that. I think if there is a crime that they may or may not commit in the future, then of course, like everybody, they should have the right to be charged and brought before court. I think that's the problem with Guantanamo. It completely disregarded of law, the concept of open and free justice, the concept of transparency and accountability, and I think it's a real shameful stain on the legacy of the United States.
Now, opponents of this sort of transfer program argue that the countries that receive detainees, such as the UAE, cannot be trusted to take the correct steps to prevent recidivism. Do you think that is a legitimate concern?
No. This point's been addressed very clearly. I think we're more concerned about why they even came to be detained in the first place. I think, like I said, there's no definitive figure with regards to how many percent go in to commit offences later on. I think the principle meaning that these men, the vast majority of them, whenever they've gone before the parole board review, like some of these people that have been released today, the eldest being 66, he himself was actually considered so dangerous that he can never be released or prosecuted. Yet here he is. He's been transferred over the weekend. He's in the United Arab Emirates. I think it's quite welcome that we've actually acknowledged that this whole idea of there are some that we can never prosecute, can never transfer, is actually being contradicted constantly by people who are considered forever detainees who have now been transferred to the Arab Emirates. They want to be their families, they want to settle on, and they want to move on. And I think if you speak to the vast majority, it's not all the detainees, or those who have given interviews in particular, they've moved on. They've built lives. They want to see their families reconnect, be a part of society again. They want to rebuild the 14 years that they've lost. And I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt, really.
Closing Guantanamo Bay is President Obama's ambition. He doesn't have very long left in office. Do you think it's realistic that that can be achieved?
Well, I think the authorities have actually said that they've got roughly 20 people they have earmarked for transfer before the end of his presidency. Whether he will achieve that or not is yet to be seen. But of course, a number like 15 in one go is very significant. It shows that there's a level of commitment and will there. I think, to be honest, that the real questions are two. Number one, there are a number of detainees been transferred in recent months and years who are living in abject poverty and destitution, who are not able to clothe themselves, feed themselves, look after themselves. And it's those kind of things we need to really address. What kind of duty of care does a power like the United States, who has kidnapped these people, who has tortured them, who has flown half around the world, detained them against their liberty for 14 years, and it's just discarding them. So it seems to me that this transfers, although they are welcome, they should A, be near their family, they should B, have some sort of support package that can integrate into society, and C, what you're seeing here is the vast majority of detainees are Yemeni, and the reason why is because of conflict in Yemen, it's deemed dangerous to send them back to Yemen. But what will be wise is something like recent moves like this, for example, to send them to the region where they're culturally, linguistically familiar with, and they can meet their families, and that in itself is a means of rehabilitation and settling in. It makes no sense sending Yemeni detainees to Estonia, to Ghana, to Uruguay, to islands in the South Pacific. It makes no sense whether that doesn't help the cause of of trying to avoid fears and or concerns regarding offending.
Okay, Ibrahim, many thanks for your time today. Ibrahim Mahmoud from Cage Campaign Against Guantanamo, live from London.